Good morning from Drayton Manor. Welcome to UK Theme Parks, and this is the first time we've been to this park in 3 years. We've decided 3 years since we last came here, and quite a lot has changed. Probably not necessarily for the good, in perfect honesty for you. You know, when we came last time, we managed to get on G-Force. G-Force then has suffered a horrific breakdown after horrific breakdown and has been closed and now removed from the park. However, some rides we were unable to get on last time, which included Stormforce 10, which was shut, and it was shut for a year. That is open. And of course we are in a post-lockdown environment. So being in post-lockdown environment, there are a couple of closed rides today. That includes the Haunting, which actually we quite like. Hex is open up the road at Alton Towers, but the Haunting is not open here at Drayton Manor. Also includes the cinema, which is shut. One of the Thomas Land rides as well is also closed. But you know, some of the bigger rides have now opened, which they didn't do initially. That includes Shockwave, which we hope to get on today. And a couple of the others as well. So we've got a little bit of a list of what we want to do today. Even Pandemonium's open today, and we've seen that testing. I have to say, I don't remember the last time I went on that. It gave me a massive head rush when I did go on it, but I don't remember the last time I went on it. It's been that long. Now, of course, the zoo here, for those that don't know, opens at 9:30. So 9:30 you can come into the zoo. As you can see, no face mask at the moment. We did wear it coming in. We were temperature checked. It was nicely spaced out. Quite a lot of staff there. Yeah, really good to be fair on the entry base of things. And of course, you know, where there's no one up here, I'm gonna take a breather, look at the animals before the park and the rides open at 10:30. I believe Thomas Land now opens at 10, which is great, but I'm not gonna be going into Thomas Land, I don't think, today. It's also the whole area is down and reduced down, so you know, it's gonna be quite a interesting. It's going to be quite a queue to get in there. It's got some noises going on, isn't it? It's been pecked on its head. So yeah, we'll take the opportunity to look around the zoo now so we don't have to when the ride's open. I genuinely don't know how busy it's going to be here today. I don't know what the queues are like. It was, you know, we are apparently in a quieter time now. The park is closed midweek. So yeah, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know who's going to be coming out and you know what we're going to be experiencing. However, as I said, we want to get on a few rides. Now, of course, Drayton Manor haven't had the best of years this year, in fairness. I mean, no one has, in honesty. With the lockdown period, Drayton Manor were unable to open. They had the flood at the beginning of the year as well, which really pushed back their February opening. I'm not even sure if they got open in February in the end, which they were going to. And you know, the pictures we saw was just water absolutely everywhere. And then of course we had the lockdown period, so it became very hard for the park. And the park did go into administration and has been bought out by the same people that own Pleasurewood Hills and West Midlands Safari Park. Both parks, as far as we're concerned, on the up, and certainly putting a lot of effort into rides and theming. Of course, this park is in desperate need of a new ride. You know, Thomas Land is amazing. I still think Thomas Land rivals, if not for me because of my age and what I grew up with, is probably better than Peppa Pig World at Portman's Park. I love Thomas Land, and you know, if I can get in there later just to have a little look around, probably not do much of filming, but just to have a look around, that would be absolutely amazing. It's something, you know, I would like to do today. But as you can see, it's quite up here, and this is where we've started. Now, interestingly, obviously, you know, there were rumours that G-Force would need to be replaced and was going to be replaced, but financial problems have hit the park. And, you know, they seem to be suffering the same as what some of the other parks did that went out of business. You know, you do need to invest, and you need to invest in some big rides. And I think Air Race is the last big ride that, you know, they had at the park. And that was, you know, 3-4 years ago now. It might even be longer, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure. And there's just been nothing since. Rides have closed, some have been refurbished, you know, and in smaller parks when rides are shut for the year, you know, it's very, very difficult. And of course, the future of the park was also up in the air because of the accident on the Rapids ride, which hasn't reopened, to be fair, even though the park were acquitted of any wrongdoing on that. You know, it was a tragic accident, absolute tragic, obviously. But everything has stumped the growth of the park, and we'd like to see, you know, hopefully move forward now, going, you know, moving on into the years. We can't film on anything today. GoPros are a strict no anywhere in the park in terms of using them on rides. So we can't do that today, and hopefully, just saying, hopefully that will change now, because you can use them at Pleasurewood Hills and you can use them at West Midlands Safari Park. So hopefully under the new ownership, some of the rules will change where it's been, I don't know if it's been family owned or what Drayton Manor has. But yeah, when we came last time, it looked a little worn in places, looked a little run down in places. So it'll be really interesting to see. We know a lot of work has gone into the zoo and some of the new lemur areas we experienced last time we were here. And of course, we're just coming around here now with the birds. We've got red kangaroos here, we had the emus, we had the ostrich, got some capybaras over there. Cody's favourite in the world. And this is a nice little one-way area to walk around here. But yeah, we'll do some shots of the zoo as we go through. And then of course we will show you some off-ride, off the rides as well as they're running. We want to get on Shockwave. We definitely, I want to get an air race. Probably want to get on Accelerator as well, Bounty, the shooting one, I can't remember what it's called now, Drunken Barrels. So there's quite a few rides that we want to get on. The weather looks amazing. It really does look amazing. We've had nothing but rain recently, but there's not a cloud in the sky. But it's not that warm, which is why I'm in a coat. But fortunately, they are parking people this side of the park, so if I need to go out and change, I will. I'll have a quick look around the zoo here, and then off to some rides. We've got little chicks. 2 little snowy owls in here. Arrived, well I say arrived, they hatched at the end of July, but for some reason, Drayton have put a massive under construction around it, so it's quite hard to see them. It's a bit of a shame, to be honest with you, but there they are. So it looks like we have a new future development going on around here. Let's go and have a little look. Definitely under construction, there's no doubt about that. I think the monkeys are out this morning. You can usually hear them coming a while. Ducks. Don't really need to look at ducks. This is an African aviary. I assume it's going to look like this. It's nice they put the blueprints out. You really struggle to find some blueprints for places. And we've got some penguins. Corridor, nice little entrance as well. That's the park's female Sumatran tiger. She can come in here if she wants. Have a little wander down here. I'm guessing they only have one now, because with this open, I thought the other one would have been with her. So I guess they only have one. It's quite good actually. They're investing in the zoo. I think one way to look at it is obviously the zoo is a key business for the park in winter times. Although they do open Thomas Land during the winter, to get all-round visitors and all-round money in, the better they can make this zoo, the more animals they can have in this zoo, and the fresher it sort of looks, to make it more of a day out during the winter is absolutely perfect for them, in honesty. And of course these aren't the greatest in, we've not got glass window. We've got one glass window down there, you've got nothing up here. It does need an update, it does need a little bit of a refresh, to be honest with you. And it's good to see that with the African aviary, that's what they're doing up there. So yeah, exciting times. I think exciting times are investing in the zoo, and I think it's really important for the park to do so they can continue to get revenue all year round. The animals have got to be fed all year round, so it makes sense to have the zoo open. And if they can balance it just right, it's probably good to have the zoo open every day. I still think people would come down here and pay a sort of, £10 fee to come to the zoo, even on quieter days. After school, they could offer even a, 2 till 6 service, would bring some money in, allow pass holders in. Pass holders would in turn spend money as well. I just think it makes logical sense that because they have the zoo here, there is much, much more they could do. Perhaps some of the other parks can't do. They're not the greatest enclosures. I mean, that's, I see what they've done here. Obviously, they've made it so it's sunscreened. Yeah, it's nice to see an update. Now over there, last time we were here, we went and had a chat with one of those cockatoos. and maybe we'll see if we can do that again later. But the zoo as a whole, you know, monkeys, a lot of birds in here now. I swear they used to have panthers and things up there. They're no longer here, they've been replaced. They've got the red pandas. You know, sadly the last gibbon in there died. They've been here 40 years plus, and the Sumatran tiger remains. So yeah, there's some work to do. I would argue there's some work to do, but it is on the up. You know, we're not going to go through the Tamarind Walk. There's a bit of a, or trail, there's a bit of a queue for that. But, you know, the new investment they're putting in the zoo is really, really good. But of course, it's not winter. It's a nice day. We want some rides. So obviously G-Force has gone. Apparently, actually, it's still in the park, in a car park somewhere, because no one wants it. It was the early X-Car model. And it has gone. No trace of it whatsoever, not even the building, absolutely nothing with air race in the background. And it's quite funny because when you look at it from here, you can see just how small this area is, and the footprint for it is tiny, absolutely tiny. And I know it got a lot of stick, G-Force, it really did get a lot of stick, but I have to say I think it did a job. I think the most frustrating thing with it was reduced opening hours. It was only ever open 11:04. Only had one train as well, which was a bit of a nightmare. But I actually quite enjoyed it. I didn't think it was too bad a ride. And I think it fitted here really nicely and looked really, really good as you come in. You know, it's not a massive space. It's genuinely not a massive space. And you know, it's just a bit of a, yeah, we're looking at it, honestly, looking at it from here, I can't think of like a world-class coaster that could fit in there really easily. I think it'd have to be something like a Eurofighter in order to get value for money. That's not to say they're going to put a thrill coaster back in there. That's not even to say they're going to put a roller coaster back in there. And whilst I say they're planning for future developments, you know, G-Force was shut all last season, obviously been removed for this season. With the park going into administration, what does this hold? But you know, this is the first thing you come to when you come in. Poor old air race, I love that. That's one of my favourite flat rides. Tucked away in the corner around there. Quite a lot, yeah, quite a lot of stuff to go on here. But Stormforce 10 is open. Wasn't open last time we came to the park. Opens at 12 today. Opens at 12. That is a soaker, an absolute soaker. And of course Shockwave. And Shockwave will be our starting point. So Shockwave, as far as I'm aware, is the only Intamin stand-up roller coaster left. Full stop. As far as I'm aware, all the others have been removed. And of course it is a unique one. It was a custom one as well. And you know, it's got a bit of a weird layout with this really long straight where you don't do anything. And of course it comes over, you know, just sort of comes over into the double corkscrew there. So 4 in version 1, only stand-up one we've got sort of in the UK. And yeah, you know, the queue, it's only 10:05. We've walked around the zoo, and the queue's massive for this. So we're gonna get in the queue for this now. I'm hoping, desperately hoping it's on 2 trains and it's not on 1 train. I think I'll be furious if it is on 1 train, to be honest with you. But this is where we're gonna start. We're gonna start with Shockwave, the Intamin stand-up coaster. It's a beautiful sunny day here at Drayton Manor. I'm ready to have my balls detached from my body. Let's crack on and do it. So there is Shockwave. That is the Intamin stand-up coaster, opened in 1994 as part of the Holy Trinity, with of course Nemesis and the big one. And it's never been, it's not been regarded as like an amazing coaster. It kind of just like, you know, it's a no frills coaster. You can get on it. It's a little uncomfortable, but I wouldn't say it rattles you around. It's quite smooth, to be honest. You know, once you get the seating arrangement right, the seat moves up and down, you kind of stand about, you know, where you need to be. It's difficult when you're in the middle because you've got on the floor, you've got kind of a little beam that goes along the middle, so you'll have one foot that's like half a foot off and one foot that's half a foot further down, which makes it a little bit uncomfortable. So you probably want to sit on the outside seats, in honesty, to have 2 feet firmly on the ground. It's all right, it's all right. I think it still has a place in the UK. You know, I don't think I can say that it doesn't. It definitely still has a place in the UK still. Is it a highlight coaster for any park? No, not in 2010, you know, onwards. No, let alone now in 2020. So yeah, you know, it's been here a long time, 26 years. It hasn't aged as well as Nemesis. It definitely hasn't aged as well as Nemesis. I don't think it's aged as well as the big one either. And you know, I have to say, for a first time visitor of the park, you know, what is it? What is it themed on? I still don't know. You go in, it's playing like BT music, which really doesn't fit with, you know, a beach area, which I'm guessing this is. A storm area. Shockwave doesn't really relate to storms, I don't believe. Someone quote me if I'm wrong. You know, I don't get the colour scheme. I don't get any, there's no real theming. You know, you've got old like minecart theming out here, which is completely irrelevant to what's going on. So yeah, I mean, the theme is odd. I actually think a whole new theme for this and a complete new name would give it a you know, a breath of fresh air, as and when that perhaps they get a you know, get a new ride, get a new coaster, a new something. In terms of social distancing as well, it's just, you know, non-existent, absolutely non-existent. As you might be able to see, they're queuing everyone inside. Now bear in mind, they've got all this space down here. I know they don't want you necessarily to go near the Splash Canyon, but they've got all this space down here. They could easily shut off Hillbillies, which I highly doubt anyone uses. They got all this outside queue in here, which has got no perspex up whatsoever. There's no gap in between, and they're queuing everyone inside that building with really poor ventilation. And you know, once you get inside, there's a couple of markings on the floor. There's nothing on the steps. So yeah, you know, on that front, really disappointing. Really disappointed in Drayton Manor that they haven't really pushed themselves to do a little bit better. I think it's really poor. They are spacing on the train, which is good, but again, you know, we're right in the middle of a you know, reduced capacity park offering, and it's only on one train. You know, it screams Flamingo Land, and yeah, it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough, which is a real shame. It's a real shame, but we enjoyed it. You know, it's a no frills ride. It's a good laugh. You know, I definitely think it's a place to stand up coasters. I know a lot of the B&M ones around the world have been converted to Flawless, and some of them ride really rough, but this Intamin one here, this classic Intamin design, I think actually still has a place. It's just not a highlight ride in 2020, and as we said, in 2010 it wouldn't have been a highlight ride. And you know, a Junior Boomerang and even G-Force that were there aren't highlight rides. The park needs something really big. But there's Shockwave. First ride done. On to the next. So there's a queue for the Bounty. Rather than bringing it down here where it's empty, the guy at the front kind of lets it go right across the path where everyone has to cross. But I have to say, it's a cracking little pirate ship, this one. I'm kind of hoping this is what the Blue Barnacle's going to be like. Not too small yet, not sort of maybe as big as what the Black Buccaneer was. I think it's a great boat, absolutely great boat. Really feels like you're going sort of 90 degrees on this one. And you can see Storm Force 10 in the background. We will get some shots of that. Everything seems really busy. We have found out the park is a sellout today, which certainly was unexpected. So we're about to see what a sellout looks like, but bearing in mind it's only 11:30. We've only been on one ride. The sellout looks really busy. There's Drunken Barrels. That'll probably be our next stop, to be honest. So we just walked around there to have a look at the queues, because there's no queue board times, and there's no board times out. It's very difficult to actually gauge how long they are, especially everything's going on. Now, Accelerator down here is kind of, you kind of see the queue here, and it goes right the way around the back, and it sort of merges into the Flying Dutchman queue, which makes it a little bit confusing. And you're probably just in there Pandemonium. It's great to see Pandemonium open. I haven't seen it open in ages, but you might also catch the zigzag queues with everyone sitting on top of each other. So I can't say I'm that happy about queuing for it, to be honest with you. I'm really not. You got to share a Showdown here. I think this was Golden Nugget last time we came here. It was the Golden Nugget shootout. So we're going to go in there. We are going to go in there and check whether or not things have changed. It'd be really interesting to see. And we do want to go on the Buffalo Coaster as well. Now, just while we watch Apocalypse there, the Buffalo down the back, as well as queues coming right round to the Flying Dutchman, which kind of then merges with Accelerator. And none of these are in queue lines. People are just sort of queuing in the middle. So I can't say it's that well labelled out what you're queuing for. If you ignore sort of everything that's going on and you kind of just like, where's my queue? It's not easy to tell where my queue is. So we're not really sure where we're going and what we're getting into. But yeah, we do want to do some rides. You know, we paid top money to come in here, to be honest. It seems really poorly organised. I'm really sorry. It just seems so poorly organised. I've not seen anything like it in visiting. You know, we've been quite a lot of parks as well, but we do want to get on some rides, and it's still early, and yet it's just getting busier and busier and busier. But I think now is the time to get in the queue for the Drunken Barrels. Get some shots of the Drunken Barrels, which we've just been on. I've got a lot of love for that ride. I think it's fantastic looking. Really is fantastic looking. And for those that don't know, this is where Zodiac used to sit. The Enterprise, the Huss Enterprise, which is currently at Fort Park, sat right here, and it's because of noise complaints from the locals that it was removed, and indeed why this ride is enclosed. It was probably the best themed ride here, to be honest with you. Again, you know, next to a Wild West shootout and an Apocalypse over there, it's very inconsistent in terms of theming, but it's just a fantastic ride. I really, really love it. I love the tilt. You know, it gets a little bit of spin by itself if you don't want to spin it, if you're not, you know, comfortable and going really, really fast. But if you want to, you do have the wheel in the middle and you can spin it, and it gets some good spins. It has seat belts on as well because of the incline. I don't remember having to put them on as an adult last time, but we were asked to this time, which is fine. It's part of the ride, it's not a problem. And you can fit 6 people in there as well, when most of them only tend to fit 5. So yeah, massive thumbs up. I'm a bit of a fan of the Drunken Barrels, I have to say. A little bit of a fan of them. Of course, we used to have the cable cars that went across here as well, which used to go outside the park. They have been removed since we were last here, and right in front of Accelerator there, straight ahead now to the right of Pandemonium. There used to be the Big Wheel, which has also gone since our last visit to the park. So the park's lost, you know, 3 rides since we last came, and has replaced them with nothing. nothing. We don't have the haunting today. The madhouse hasn't reopened post lockdown, whilst Alton Towers and Legoland have both reopened theirs. Drayton Manor haven't opened theirs, but I don't think it was Sheriff's Showdown last time we came, so this is our next stop, back into the Wild West. Potentially we can have a look at the queue, back into the Wild West and see whether or not anything's actually changed in there. Sadly, no haunting today. Rather like the haunting. Nice little madhouse. I think it's the original one as well in the country. You can just see there, that is the Wild West building, which we've just been in. So I think it was Golden Nuggets last time we came, and there are some subtle differences. I believe the rock work around it is new. The target system is definitely new. The guns are definitely new. There's a nice screen with a little storyline as well. That's new. There's a fair bit in there not working, and I would have thought when they replaced the guns that perhaps they might have added kind of laser targets, because you have no idea what you're shooting at. Now I know the last one, the last incarnation of it was before Sheriff's Showdown, was very much as if you consecutively shoot them. So if you don't miss any in between and don't just fire continuously, then you got a better score. It's not really clear as to whether or not that works on here, but you know, it's all right. It's all right. It's a nice little ride, to be honest. Not a very long queue either. So no haunting today, but Sheriff's Showdown's done. I think it's probably better than what it was. But don't expect much if you went on the Golden Nuggets. Don't expect much apart from the new kind of gun system, to be honest with you. I don't even think the gift shop's open, to be honest. There's Accelerator, formerly Ben 10. See the Flying Dutchman in the background? There's only a couple of people on it, so it doesn't look like, well, it doesn't look like they're on the inside seats, which is a bit weird actually, because they're quite a distance apart. certainly not feeling wet enough today to be attempting Storm Force 10. So first you saw footage and we went on the Intamin gyro swing Maelstrom, and I love that ride. I genuinely think that ride is absolutely fantastic. I really, really do. Be careful not to get wet here as these boats come down. The power of it and the speed of it is just something else, and the great thing is it speeds up and slows down really, really fast. It doesn't quite top Eagle's Claw at Lightwater Valley, but I'm telling you now, that's second best for me swing ride in the UK is that Maelstrom Intamin gyro swing. Absolutely bloody love it. I think it's fantastic. Shockwave has broken down. The queue for air race is massive. We will look to get on air race today because it's one of my favourites, so we'll look to get on that today. But Shockwave is down, and then yeah, Storm Force 10. So I'm not feeling the drenching of Storm Force 10 today, and it looks really wet. Really wet, in fact. I'm not going to do a lot of filming in here because it's really busy. When we made our video, which is on the channel, you can go back and have a look. We did come on an off-peak day and it wasn't quite as busy. So there's quite a lot of children here enjoying their day. We've got some pop-up toilets. I just love this place. This is what I grew up with Thomas Tank in. I think it's absolutely amazing in here. So first up was the Bounty, the Park's pirate ship. It's better than your average ship, without a doubt. It was never as good as what Black Buccaneer was. But you know, it's actually a really good boat. Really, really good boat. And probably the best one we got operating at the moment in the country that I can think of. But let me know in the comments if you think there's a better one than the Bounty at the moment. Followed then by Accelerator, which is the Vekoma Junior Boomerang ride. Nearly didn't get that one out. That's the first one in the country, that was. Obviously joined by Velociraptor down in Portland's Park. They both have a very different design. I actually find this one a far better design than the one down at Portland's. And it's got quite a good theme to it as well. Whilst it's still a little bit mixed with Ben 10, because the Ben 10 theme was only paid for and only lasted for 5 years, it has now changed to sort of a, you know, souped up workshop sort of car ride for fast cars. So, you know, they've done a good job with it. It was rethemed last time we came here in 2017, so that's about, must be 8 years old now. By process elimination, that ride must be 8 years old. We're now down here at the Buffalo Coaster. We do normally like to ride the Buffalo Coaster, but the loading on it really doesn't seem great. A real retro classic ride here at the park, the Buffalo. It had a problem quite a few years back where the train was shortened, and then it was like made a little bit longer again, and then it's kind of, this is the static length of it. And you know, it's a wonderful, it is genuinely a wonderful family roller coaster, and not a bad word to say about it. I love it. I think it's got some good pops of speed, particularly at the you know, the drop helixes, and it just, you know, the way it kind of goes over the lake bit and comes back around this side and goes through some of the trees and underground. I love it. I genuinely think it's a great coaster. I'm really pleased the park kept it open. I think it's had a fresh lick of paint at the station since we came. I know the train and track was redone before we came last time, but I think the station's had a little lick of paint. But yeah, it does seem to be a really long queue today. In the background there, we showed you earlier Pandemonium. We're not going to go on Pandemonium today, but it is great to see it open. And of course, Apocalypse. Is it the best drop tower in the UK? Again, comments below. Is it the best drop tower in the UK? You have a stand-up option, which is 1.4 height restriction, and a sit-down option, which is only 1.2. It is a great drop tower. For those who don't know, I don't go on drop towers anymore. After an unfortunate incident, it's drop towers that really hurt my neck. But it is so busy here, far busier than I thought. Shockwave's been shut pretty much since we went on it first thing this morning. The train goes around occasionally, but queue's been completely evacuated, so it's made other rides quite busy. We've just had a quick look around Thomasland. We didn't film a lot in there because it is busy. There's a lot of family groups here with their children, so we're not going to film too much in there, but just give you an idea. You know, Thomasland is something, I grew up with Thomas the Tank Engine. You know, it kind of, the land means a lot to me in terms of, you know, how I relate to it compared to Peppa Pig World. And I do think it is second to Peppa Pig World. It is second to Peppa Pig World because they don't keep the attention to detail which Portland's Park do. Portland's Park with the cleaning, the repainting, you know, the no nonsense loss of theme. Take it over anything, to be honest with you. They certainly take it over Thomasland as Apocalypse goes back down there. But it is a fantastic area, and you know, undoubtedly it's done really well for the park. The problem is all the expansion of recent time has gone into Thomasland, and we hear the rumour ride for 2021. We're going to try and find out is another ride for Thomasland as well, which looks like a mini teacups. But we're going to try and find that out. We've heard a rumour about it, so we're going to try and find that one out before our day is over. We're going to head back into the zoo, find an ice cream. I think this is arguably one of the best theme park views in the UK, just looking out over all these rides. I think even without G-force there, you get a better view of the air race. It still seems to just, you know, over the lake, just looks fantastic. It really does look fantastic. Such a great setting this park has. You know, sort of natural lake, rock work, woods, right the way to sort of the more man-made Thomas Land, and heading back up the top end of the park up here. And what we decided we'd do there is give you a little ride back on Rosie. So Thomas Land's just over there. Have a little ride back on Rosie. That was quite fun. Enjoyed that. Made some squeaking noises, but I thought we'd come and check out the view from here. Just love the view from here. Just love it. I feel really sorry for those people. The way that boat stops there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not for me today, Stormforce 10, by any means, but you know, it's been an alright day. It's been alright. It's busy, probably too busy, but it is nice to get out. It's nice to enjoy a little bit of sunshine, which we have. It's nice to get in views like this at theme parks, which we love to do. It really is. We want to see if we can get on the train, have a little look around the back end. Shockwave hasn't moved. I don't know if you can see it just sort of over there. It hasn't moved in hours now. There's definitely a problem with it, which is a bit of a shame, and it's obviously impacting other queues around the park. So we'll see if we can get on the train, have a look around. If not, I think we might be out of a decision now to make a call on this, because it's just too busy here. You know the wonderful noise that's making. See, a lot of the games are shut. There's quite a lot of food outlets that were shut as well as we went around initially. And of course, here is some really wet people. How wet are they? Plastic oceans, we can make a difference. My God, that's only from the first drop there. He looks like that. He hasn't even gone down the main drop yet. There's something to look forward to, but it's a great look off the Stormforce 10. Stormforce 10, to be fair, probably is the best log flume we have in this country with the backwards drop. I think as a log flume, it is better than Valhalla, to be honest. Especially when it's running like it is at the moment. Around the back here you can see Shockwave, and you know, you used to be able to walk down this bit right the way down, and you used to be able to walk, so you can get some great views of Shockwave. You can see they're working there at the back of the train, which is why the train's hanging out. So it has been open for a couple of hours, so we won't get any shots of it going around, sadly. But there's the loop, followed by the barrel roll, and of course the river rapids, which will run down underneath. As we said, it's a beautiful looking park. You know, when you look straight ahead and you look at the water on the left here, and then you come around the rides, it really is something special. You have these little pops of scenery along the way, which we're slowing down for. Okay. I suppose there's nothing stopping them putting big cages there and actually having some songbirds. So this is now kind of out of bounds park limit. As you come around here, this is sort of the fence to the park to keep you away from the rapids there. Let's come right over here over the lake. Lovely clear lake actually, for what it is. Lovely clear lake. A few natural beauty spots around here. A few natural bug hangouts as well. Of course, the road where you come in to the park. And some more native areas here. These are lovely. Look at these. Look. These are lovely wood sculptures of bumblebees there. Love those. Love those. There's a little badger in there, tucked away. Bat hang out. So it's more of a nature sort of journey, this, through some of the, you know, bug things. They've kind of laid out natural bug areas for wildlife around the park, plus a little bit of knowledge as you go as well. There's well some great views of Shockwave, the Rapids ride, which is just here. Obviously not in use at the moment. We're not sure whether that will return, but there it is. And obviously their landscaping projects which they've got. So it's quite an educational view on here. It's quite, you know, it's quite a nice little train, to be honest. And that will now run back through into the main park. Going under the corkscrews of Shockwave. And there's Shockwave there. We head back into the main park. There it is. One of my favourite flat rides, Air Race. One of my favourite flat rides. And of course you can also see the complete area where G-Force used to sit. As I said, it's not as big as what I thought it was. Some may think it's a massive area, but by the time it's landscaped and there's a ride in here, I don't think it's that big. Amazing what you can do with compact coasters, and it'd be really interesting to see what the park decides to do with this, what they can afford to do with it over the next couple of years. The Intamin gyro swing, love that. Great ride, great ride. We've had to slow down because people have run in front of the train, and he's just got off there. The words bell end don't quite account for these people, sadly. But we're back at the station. So there it is, Drayton Manor 2020 post-lockdown. We haven't been here for 3 years, so it's been quite a long time in honesty. It's not that far away from where we live, but it's the way the park's sort of developed and what it has on offer, the reason why we hadn't come. You know, on this occasion we thought, well, actually, you know, they do have some really great unique rides. We don't necessarily ride them all, but you know, it's sometimes just nice to see them as well. So you know, Shockwave, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's a unique roller coaster, and one of the most unique roller coasters we have in the UK, given its status in even the world one. You know, stand-up roller coasters aren't common. Can't see they're ever going to come back and make a comeback. You know, they're just, it's so unique now, and I think we're lucky to have one in the UK, whatever you think of it. On top of that, you have an air race. You know, it's a full-size air race. I love it. I absolutely love the air race. It's such a good ride, such a good ride. You know, Apocalypse, arguably the best drop tower we have in the UK. Again, the only stand-up drop tower we have in the UK. And they don't really make a big song and dance about that anymore, and I really think they should. You know, and there's a couple of really good support rides. The Drunken Barrels are fantastic looking. You know, the Bounty is a great pirate ship. And you know, even like the first junior boomerang in the country is located there. And let's not forget, right here, Thomasland. Probably the highlight of the park still for many is Thomasland, and that's what they come to experience. So it's nice to get some different rides in. It was a sellout today. Wasn't expecting it to be a sellout, to be honest, outside of summer. And the sun has actually come out today, which is a little bit of a miracle, to be honest with you. And it was a sellout, and it's, yeah, too busy. We've said it about other parks, and I can't sugarcoat it on this one either. The park is too busy. And they're managing, you know, the ride throughput appallingly. There's just, don't seem to be interested, to be honest with you, in the ride throughput. Yeah, it's something else, to be fair. You know, Shockwave, which has been shut, unfortunately, for most of the day. We were lucky to get on it first thing this morning. It's only running one train, and it screams Flamingo Land. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. There's no reason why they can't be running two trains. They have two trains, and I say this about Flamingo Land every year. I dread to think what that place is like during this lockdown period. it's not running 2 trains. The you know, there's just no rush. Even the Flying Dutchman, you'd have seen a video of the Flying Dutchman, some shots of it on there. You know, all their barrels are actually more than 1 meter apart, so there's no reason not to fill that ride, in perfect honesty with you, especially if they make it a face mask you know, compulsive ride. It just seems, you know, there's like 10 people floating around on it. That just seems ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. So I wouldn't say operations have been great. Staff have been not that engaging, to be honest with you. You know, the ones we've dealt with, that's for food, that's for drink, that's for rides, they've been a bit blunt and to the point. I think we came across one relatively good one. You know, social distancing for many is a big aspect. I know it's not for everyone, and we say this every time. You know, how did the park fare? Well, absolute worst we've seen. Absolute worst we've seen. We were really quite upbeat about the entrance. The entrance actually was fairly good. You know, we were told which way to go. It was quite well laid out. Once inside, just felt a free fall, an absolute free fall. You'll have seen as we've walked around queues that kind of stretch out the queue lines. And, you know, rather than, Maelstrom is a perfect one. Rather than, you know, going round the corner and queuing by the fence, you just queue out into the main part and you're expected to just dodge and walk through people. You can't do that. You know, every queue line here pretty much is a zigzag queue line, and they're full. They're just full of people left and right. You know, there's no screen protectors, there's no fences, there's no, you know, there's nothing. And apart from Maelstrom and the train, getting on the train at the top end actually was the same, the markings on the floor were dreadful, absolutely dreadful. You know, for Maelstrom, to be fair, it did have where you, in a zigzag pattern where you should stay. And obviously, you're probably aware that the big parks did try this. You know, Fort Park tried it with Nemesis Inferno, quickly reverted out of it because it just doesn't work, because people just can't see what they're not. They see in front of them that they're 2 meters and they don't see left and right. But here, it's just been ignored, absolutely ignored. And you know, Shockwave, there's lots of room now. You know, on the train ride, as we went round, you can see the space down the side of Shockwave. And instead, you know, they're queuing indoors. There's no ventilation in there whatsoever. You know, a few grates in the wall is not ventilation when you're all queuing indoors. On the stairs, there are no markings. None of the queue lines have, you know, please keep 2 meters. There are no announcements by the park. It's awful. Absolutely the worst I've seen. Unbearably the worst I've seen. People in the park are a bit hit and miss, to be fair. Again, with face masks in terms of wearing them, and in terms of keeping their distance. It's probably better here than what it was, say, at Pleasurewood Hills in terms of general public sticking to it. But it's just nothing to stick. Honestly, I'm gutted. I'm gutted. You know, the park has gone into administration this year, and has been bought out, which is great news, because we don't want to lose a park like this. We don't want to lose any theme parks, really. But there's just no excuses. There's no excuses for slapdash implementation of this. And you know, I say this on the basis as well that some of the fair people have posted this week. Obviously, they've not been able to open. A lot of theirs have been cancelled, and yet the fairs are probably nailing it better than anyone else. That is frustrating. Even as a theme park kind of person, it is frustrating for me to see that, especially when you come to places like this over, you know, some of the other places we've been. And we know, we comment about other parks and how they get it wrong, but generally you would feel safe visiting it. You know, I didn't feel safe getting in the Shockwave queue line. Just didn't feel safe getting in there. You're all indoors, you're all cramped together, there's barely any markings. You know, the rooting tooting, again, you're right next to each other. There's no markings on the floor because of the grate. You know, air races all queue inside, and they have someone stopping to go in, but then they just let you in anyway. And the Maelstrom really did sum up the staff and everything today. You know, we waited outside, we queued across, and there's a big queue around the back which is quite well marked out. And you know, the gent says, he literally just looked and said, just keep social distancing if you can. That's like, that just sums up the attitude. So whether you believe it or not, whatever your thoughts on it are, that's not what we're here for. We're here to literally just feedback to you how we found the measures in the park. Worst I've seen. And you know, in terms of the amount of people in the park and how they're managing it, and the staff, and even the ride offering, to be fair, it's the worst theme park visit I've had of 2020. Can't sugarcoat it for you. Drayton Manor. We've been on some good rides today. As I said, it was nice to get on some rides today. I can't, yeah, I'm gutted. I'm having to say it. It is really nice to get on some unique rides at Drayton Manor. And you know, I really hope that there are new measures coming and there are some new guidelines coming for them, because by God, they need it. The place is well oversold. They're not handling it very well. They're not at full capacity. The staff look disinterested, and they most certainly are not COVID safe, in my view. But have you visited Drayton Manor? Am I going a bit OTT? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Regardless, again, I don't want to know your thoughts on it. I'm not into an argument of that. You know, if you are up on the guidelines and things, let us know. Have you visited Drayton Manor? What did you think of it? From UK theme parks, it's been a different one. I hope you've enjoyed the ride footage and a little look around Drayton Manor. It'd be really interesting to see what the park can do for 2021. We didn't see a new ride advertised. I believe some of the old brochures from the beginning of the year had the ride advertised, but there's certainly nothing that we can see in the park to say there's a new ride for 2020. It's got a lot of space. It's lost quite a few rides the last few years. Quite honestly, I'm still a bit worried for it. But Drayton Manor, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.